if there was something that Google changed automatically. All right, we should be live.
All right, let me refresh. Okay, that didn't go. Let me try this again. Open link, new window. Yes. And we're back. Well, wait a minute.
Jeremy Comer's beard and Stratus's hair. I just don't know which I think is better. I just, Oh, I'm sorry. Are we back?
Oh, that's my girl. Oh, my Lord. Okay.
Yeah,
Mike needs to talk.
I'll talk here in a second. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
All
five,
right. On the
5,
new
4,
link.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. All right. So, and let's see. Let me reload this. And did you? Yeah. Good. Okay. All right. Now I've got. No, that's email. I don't want that. I want the phone. And let's see what's going on in the chat room. 100% better. Okay, good. Good.
All right, so
I'm going to hand this to you.
We're on my phone. So
Okay.
Okay.
Because
you should have done this before the show. No.
yeah, because you did.
Hey, I was busy working.
Hey, I just want you to know I had to grind it out by myself. You have the talented and famous Shannon to help you out. So I will return it home.
She's decided that using the facilities is more important at this moment. So
Okay.
I was working on tech issues, so I didn't touch where you guys were in your conversation. If you want to go to that.
Well, as I was listening, the bills that they've chosen to highlight, it's a pretty interesting group of bills. The first one would be a total ban on possession of firearms out to campus. Now, this is already the case per campus policy, as far as I know, at all of the public institutions of higher ed. I know it was the case at my alma mater. This would make it state law, which is a much higher hurdle if you ever want to change that policy, of course. At the end of the day, what we're talking about, again, is ignoring the rights of law-abiding citizens to protect themselves, particularly when you're talking about a vulnerable population of potentially not only young adults, but we're also talking about non-traditional students who take classes on campus, may very well have a carry permit and now cannot carry per campus policy, but now would not be able to carry per state law. And again, it creates another gun-free zone, which, as we all know, essentially creating another victim zone. So it's feel-good legislation that isn't going to have any effect other than on those of us who follow the laws. The second piece of legislation they chose to highlight is legislation that would prohibit persons on the terror watch list from purchasing firearms. And nobody wants a terrorist to get a firearm. I think there isn't anyone who would disagree with that. The problem is terror watch list is in and of itself classified. Nobody knows who is on it. Nobody knows how you get on it. There is no way to get off of it that anyone is aware of. And you could be put on this list not for being under suspicion of terrorist activity yourself, but simply because the feds want to talk to you because you might know something about someone who is under suspicion. For example, you could be a landlord who's rented an apartment to somebody, and they want to know what you know about their lifestyle. You did nothing wrong. You're not suspected of having done anything wrong, but now your name is on this list because they want to track down and you.
Right. Sorry.
It's a fundamental abrogation of due process. Every other manner in which you can lose your firearms rights involves a judicial proceeding of some flavor or another. There is no judicial process whatsoever in getting your name on this list. And frankly, at the end of the day, it's not practical. The list is classified. Police are not cleared to know who's on this list.
Right.
So it's again another piece of feel-good legislation that's unenforceable and completely ignores due process rights.
And by the way, you can be on that list just because your name sounds like somebody else's, as somebody in the chat room points out. Because I was getting there, but since he brought it up, I thought I would go ahead.
So minor correction.
And
Ted
this is
Kennedy
the
was on
question
the
that
list.
I really want to get answered.
Do what?
If we're so concerned about terrorists in Maryland, how about we make a bill that says people on the terror watch list can't have driver's licenses? How about we make a bill that says people on the terror watch list can't get state benefits? How about we make a bill that says people on the terror watch list can't vote? Oh, now we're talking a whole different story. It's only when we're talking about firearms that these people are willing to completely ignore all of the problems with this list. When you start talking about other things, I bet we get a very different response.
You think?
The third bill sounds really great on its face. You have someone who has become prohibited for domestic violence reasons. The judge is now required to let them know that they are prohibited for the purposes of firearms ownership. Awesome. Here's the clincher. They have, and I don't remember the exact bill, but they have a certain defined period of time in which they can surrender their firearms either to law enforcement or to a dealer for consignment. Again, great. People don't deserve to lose the value inherent in those firearms when they become prohibited, particularly in some of these kinds of proceedings. Let them consign them to a dealer. Fantastic. Here's the problem. Federal law makes you prohibited for domestic violence for domestic violence crimes. Federal law says you're prohibited the moment the gavel comes down. Federal law does not envision a waiting period in which you can go retrieve your firearms and either carry them to law enforcement or take them to a dealer to be consigned. So what the bill does is, by state statute, requires you to turn over evidence against yourself in a federal crime. It's a fundamental violation of your Fifth Amendment right to self-incrimination. And, when we've seen these before, the response is always, are there federal agents hiding under every bush? No, but it's happened. It's happened in more than one state in this country where someone has been subject to one of these proceedings, goes home, gets their firearm, ends up getting charged with a crime.
The Baltimore Sun already put out an article on this. I'm assuming you know Amy Hunter. Okay.
She's with NRA Public Affairs.
I can tell. NRA spokeswoman Amy Hunter said the proposals were, quote, nothing more than politics at its worst, and rebuked Democratic leaders for not offering ideas that would, quote, address the crime epidemic plaguing Baltimore City. She's right on the money. Yeah, you must have taught her well. Not one of these laws would address the real issues facing Maryland or improve public safety, Hunter said. Instead of addressing real problems, they are trying to push a political agenda by proposing laws that are redundant, impeding law-abiding citizens from exercising their constitutional rights, and would do nothing to improve public safety. Wait, didn't I just? She's channeling you. I'll bet you do. Anyway, so then they get into, Washington College was shut down for a week last fall. We're gonna have a ball with that in testimony. Try to bring them up. We want our college campuses to be a sanctuary. No guns, Miller said. Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but to me, a no gun sanctuary is the same as a target-rich environment. So it's like the guy in, what was it, Colorado, that went to the movie theater, right? He specifically chose a movie theater where he knew they couldn't have guns.
Sunweed Show at Virginia Tech.
Yep.
Here's the other thing about the college campus legislation. NCAA sanctions shooting sports. ROTC participates in the shooting sports. These are college-sanctioned events in the shooting sports. And we're going to tell these college athletes that they can't have the equipment necessary to compete.
You'll want to read the rest of that article. Jim Rosapep has an interesting position on that. You might have already. I'm sure you read a great deal about today's thing. Chris Van Hollen says the NRA may have a stranglehold on Republicans in Congress because, It's only the NRA. There are no other organizations out there advocating for our constitutional rights. But rock on. We love NRA. Republicans in Congress, but here in Maryland, we're going to act. That's why I'm proud to support legislation introduced in Annapolis today that will, and he goes on to, he even says, stop gun permits from going to those on the terrorist watch list. Are you kidding me? You are a congressman. How do you not know?
He doesn't know because he hasn't been right into the program.
Oh my, but he's a congressman. Good day in the morning. I'm looking. So there was a, oh, wait a minute. Did you get, hey, you made the Times.
Yeah, I guess.
Mike Doherty made the Times. So that there's a Washington Times article, Shannon, called Maryland Democrats Propose 5 Gun Control Bills to Expand on the 2013 Crackdown. And I'm skipping way ahead because it's much more fun to talk about Mike than to get aggravated over the nonsense that they spoke about today. Quote, these bills introduced today represent another attempt on the part of these officials to blame law-abiding gun owners for their own failure to address the real causes of violent crime, said Mike Doherty, legislative director of the Maryland State Rifle and Pistol Association. Oh. Hey, did he get another quote?
Nope.
You're in print. Now you're going places.
He is.
So that would be the second time I was in print from the rally. Too.
Yeah, and you got another call tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens with that one.
You need.
Fox 45 is at 10. So
I don't get channel 45 here, so you guys are gonna have to watch channel 45 and see if they quote Mike and let us know, please, by all means. So I've not had a chance to read this whole article, but it's the Washington Times, so I expect it to be a little more balanced. It doesn't look like they got, it looks like they got quotes from maybe J.B. Jennings. And so you're pretty good there, pal.
J.B. Jennings, Virginia House Speaker William Howell.
Yeah, you're playing in the big leagues now.
Hey, Bill Howell.
I'm telling. So, all right, good. So, yeah, it's been kind of an interesting day. You got any other? So we were explaining, well, before you called in, and I think this was part of the thing when Mike was out of the room, but I was explaining because mostly the folks that watch this show are, the people that show up to testify. They're the people that show up at the rally. When we say we need help, these are the folks that show up. These are, the leaders of the community. And I was explaining to them that they needed to go forth. And when people say to them, or they make the statement online or wherever, oh, I'm never going to support any bill that Susie Smith for, they, say, well, wait a minute. This isn't about Susie Smith. Okay. Because 20 years from now, nobody's going to remember that Susie Smith got this bill passed in the state of Maryland. What they remember is the bill passed, good or bad. So if it's a good bill, don't worry about whose name is on it. Get out there and support it. And if it's a bad bill, get out there and defeat it.
Absolutely.
So, yes, hit it.
One of the bills that got introduced today was sponsored by Senator Raskin.
And
so we have a concern about. There's another bill that was introduced by Senator Raskin, which actually practically out of the 2A community's talking points. We've been saying for years, they keep touting, Frosch mentioned it today in the press conference, they do this all the time. How many people have been turned down from attempting to purchase a firearm because they had a violent crime in their background? And the question we always want to know is, did they get prosecuted for that? Because if you knowingly to purchase a firearm, that's a felony. That's a felony offense right there. Simply filling out that 4473, lying on the form, knowing that you're a prohibited person is a felony offense. Actually, I think it was 5 when I counted once. Walking in knowing you're a prohibited person and attempting to purchase a firearm. So we keep asking the question, how many of these people are getting actually prosecuted for this? They keep talking about how many people have been turned down. How many people are getting prosecuted for it? We didn't have an answer. Senator Raskin has sponsored a bill that requires a report to be produced. Not only when someone gets denied, does the Maryland State Police have to notify state's attorney and the AUSA, the federal prosecutor. But if the charges are not brought, the state's attorney has to tell us why.
I like it.
You know, and the thing is, I think we'll get some really interesting information if this comes through, because a lot of the time, from what we are given to understand, based statistics gathered at NAVL, a significant portion of the time, when someone gets denied, they're not actually prohibited. When they appeal, they find that there's been a typographical error, name and letters name. There was perhaps an arrest, but then you were found not guilty, or the charges were dropped. All kinds of things can screw it up in bureaucratic record keeping. When people appeal, a significant portion of the time, they actually turn out to not be prohibited and can go on to purchase that firearm. So I'm really curious to find out, number one, how many of those people that Frosch keeps talking about aren't actually prohibited at all? And number two, why aren't they being charged with anything if they legitimately were prohibited and they're trying to game the system?
So, Shannon, question on that then becomes the interplay between two bills. The interplay between the terror watch list bill and Raskin's reporting bill. Where Raskin's reporting bill, the wording implies that the reason for the reporting mechanism going to everybody is so that they can do that research and go after somebody or not.
Yep.
But the terror watch list, since we don't know why they're on there, are we going to run into I can foresee the possibility of us running into an overzealous state's attorney charging somebody for something because they got denied on a purchase and assuming that meant that they're prohibited.
Where you have big problems with the terror watch list.
Oh, I know. I just wanted to get it out there for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why you're going to have big problems with this terror watch list bill, is that you can be on that list and not be prohibited. Now, there's a aspect to filling out that 4473. You have to knowingly attempt to make the purchase. So if you don't know you're on a terror watch list, then you not really attempt to make that purchase. That having been said, you're still going to have to hire an attorney, and your life is going to be in a shambles for quite some time. So that's one of the big ones we've got. Terrible problem that people are on it and you don't know. And frankly, we don't want them to know. To be perfectly honest, as an American citizen who would like to say from this, I want a terrorist suspect to know that he's being investigated, because then he's going to go underground.
Right. Absolutely. All right.
It doesn't change the fact that we have due process, and we have due process for a reason.
Well, I think they.
It was interesting. I was reading something on the other day where they were talking about action movies, buddy cop movies, Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, and how there's this trope that there's the cop who doesn't want to do things by the book. He just to bring justice, and he's the hero of the movie. And the person making this comment made the observation of, doing things by the book isn't actually something we're not supposed to be idealizing. What's even more badass than being the cop who, doesn't do things by the book? Due process. Due process is really badass.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Hi, littlest activist.
Oh, it is the littlest. She has a birthday coming up.
She does have a birthday coming up.
Oh, she will be 2.
I have 2 birthdays coming up.
Yes, because you have twins.
Yeah, so they turned 14 on Friday.
Oh my God. Well,
somebody else's birthday coming up too.
She's not 2 though.
Well, multiple.
Be very careful there, Mr. Joe. Very
It's
careful.
already been released on Facebook.
No, it's not public. But thanks for that so much. Thanks. I'm gonna kick his butt, and then I'm gonna be a prohibited
you pick
user.
on me, I pick on you.
I didn't say anything. I'm sitting here minding my own business. Hi, Wendy. Uh-huh. She's practicing for her testimony. I can tell.
Are you going to testify?
Say 2A.
Okay, it's A.
There you go. Rock on. What else do you need? Oh gosh. Well, Shannon, I don't want to keep you from debates, but is there anything else you wanted to tell everybody this week? Because I'm not sure. Hopefully we're back on next week, but just in case.
Well, I would say don't focus on just the bills. There's a lot of bills out there. A lot of bills there that are really bad. Honestly, so check out the list. Go on the website. And look at all the other bills that are out there. There's a lot of really bad bills out there, and we're going to be putting up a big fight this session.
All right. And I know that each organization has their own way of communicating with their members about how they feel about the bills and stuff. So if you guys have not joined one of these fabulous organizations, please do. NRA, MSRPA, MNI, or the gun clubs. We can all use all the help we can get. So, and by the way, if you are a member of one, then be a member of two. And if you're a member of two, be a member of three. 'Cause we're good people and we work hard. And if you're a member of all of them, then go get somebody else to join. So we need help. So more gun rights. Yay! Oh, anyway. All right, Sweet Pea. Well, I don't want to keep you. I mean, I'll talk to you all night, but it sounds like you got your hands full.
Yeah, I need to get the two littlest activists back to bed here. They've
Been out there well.
they're released themselves from prison, and they need to be put back in their cage, as it were.
As it were. All right, darling. Well, I will more than end up talking to you tomorrow, but I will talk with you soon. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Say good night.
Well, I was doing something. So,
I'm just picking back.
uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
We have a bill to legalize campus carry statewide. Well, nice to be in Alabama there, Bolts.
Right? Oh, gosh. So I feel like we gave them a lot of information, and I don't want to overload them too much. Is there any other? I think they're all pretty much the 7 in the. Well, coming.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. So,
looking at the
folks,
dates.
just to let you know, when you do a subject level search on the Maryland General Assembly website, for those who don't know, it's mgaleg.maryland.gov. You can do a subject level search. The first one on there is one that's pre-populated down at the bottom of the screen called guns. That is anything that includes the word gun, weapon, or firearm. So there are some bills on there that don't really apply from a 2A perspective, but so it's a larger list. Some of the organizations, I know that the tracker that I'm generating for MSRPA has all of those just so that my match up to what theirs are. We post out a position list of whether we're taking a position, so it's basically support with amendment, no position, or oppose. But there are going to be some of them up there. For example, just based upon today's listings, we are at 22 bills total in the Senate and 30 bills, I believe, in the House. I checked. I think I lost one of those on the. But so keep in mind some of the ones that you see in there may or may not apply to us. So there's some dates that are different for some of the hearings. There are also those of, I don't get anybody in the chat room that is in law enforcement or has friendly connections with law enforcement officers, but I'll ask if one brother's a law enforcement officer. Excuse me. And it seems to be this year in the General Assembly is the war on cops. There's a bunch of bills, ease restrictions on criminal convictions and criminal penalties, while at the same time tightening up restrictions on law enforcement officers, basically making their job almost unworkable. One of the bills in particular is a requirement that a new requirement that they want to pass to require all law enforcement officers, in order to maintain their certification in the state of Maryland, carry a personal liability or a personally funded, meaning paid for by the cop,
Right.
professional liability policy of a minimum of $800,000 in case they get involved in a lawsuit. And if they are involved in a lawsuit, that insurance policy pays the money before the state or the locality pays the money. And to friends of mine, law enforcement officers, and my brother's law officer, their immediate reaction was the exact same as mine was, which was they basically are saying they don't want cops in the state of Maryland.
Right.
Because that's, while liability insurance isn't hugely expensive, it's still an expense out of people's paychecks. If a cop wants to do it, great. I'm all for recommending it. I mean, I recommend it within the fire and rescue community for volunteer paid guys. Hey,
But-
it's a good idea.
Like to force people to
but
purchase
mandating
products.
it, yeah.
By the way, so Perrin's niece turns 18 on Friday, and this is what he's getting her. Perrin from Genesis Firearms. So Perrin, on the
Very nice.
22nd, I will not be 18. I will be something with a 0. I want to know what I get. So I'm just saying, if she gets that, okay, hook me up, brother.
They can't see that. All they see is your phone. The picture's not big.
I'm aware, but I was really referencing it's a nice little. I think it's an AR-15, isn't it?
It's the AR platform, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful
Oh,
thing.
just to circle back because we
and
were talking.
Muddy Girl, please go ahead.
So just to circle back because we were talking about it, the domestic violence bill. What does Family Law 4501 say applies? Abuse means any of the following: an act that causes serious bodily harm,
Legit.
an act that places a person eligible for relief in fear of immediate serious or imminent serious bodily harm, assault in degree, or sections under 3303 through 3308 of the criminal law article, or attempted rape or sexual offense in any degree, false imprisonment, or stalking. A person to relief is a child. Abuse also include abuse of a child as defined in Title V, Subtitle 7 of the Family Law article. If the person for whom relief is sought is a vulnerable adult, abuse also include abuse of a vulnerable adult as defined in Title 14, Subtitle 1 of.
So
this
basically,
very
if I
article.
feel threatened, yeah. I think their gun bill here is to allow the carry of a loaded handgun in the vehicle without a permit, as we have open carry.
Yeah, so there are quite a few states that consider that to be a concealed firearm. That's just dating.
Hopefully that's quite
it's in the car with you. It's not a concealed.
Right. Okay. So we can use L for Andy. There, 22nd. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I'm not permitted to answer that question, Bolts.
So we can use L for Andy? Oh. None. If you can't figure it out, good. This is a good thing. Okay. And Perrin, well, you know, I take donations. Yes, I figured it out. I figured it out. So, yes, I got it. I got it. My God. Jeez, I just didn't, it wasn't in context. So I wasn't quite sure. And you know what, Bolt, it is not nice to question a lady's age. So please.
I'll defend Bolts here. You
I said
put
I was
the
not
fact that
18.
Your birthday is out there,
Yes.
and that it ended with a 0. You put both of those facts in the.
Yes, I did. What? Andy, don't you feel very threatened by Mike's attack on your rights? File a protective order on him. Well, I would if I got guns. That might be good, but no, then he'd have to give his guns up, and Hey, Bolts, you better be nice. Okay. Apparently I can smack you around with a fish in this forum, so watch it.
You can. You don't have to be a moderator.
No, I do not. So anyway, that's about all I got before we go too far off the deep end. But you all owe me a cocktail because it's a 0 birthday.
I will point out one. Just to get it there in the air, those of you who have not heard, House Bill 459 and Senate Bill 389. The governor, these bills, if you look them up, are submitted under the name of the Speaker and President because they are administration requested bills. This one specifically is an administrative requested bill to remove some of the fees we are subject to within this lovely state. And chief among those that is of interest to our community is the abolishment of the fees for an HQL.
Right. Yes.
So, and that one is being heard in a joint committee on the House side, House Ways and Means and House Appropriations, on the 7th of March, and in the Senate on the 20th of February in Budget and Taxation. So both of those are committees where we're not, the public is really, well, you can probably testify. It's a lot different than us testifying in judiciary or judicial proceedings.
Yeah.
Both of those committees tend to, actually all 3 of those committees, because it's a joint on the House side, tend to be much more formal, fair. So, and some of them don't really like testimony from the public. They prefer just to hear from expert witnesses, and that's it.
And I didn't realize, I'm sorry, which committees there did.
Ways and Means and Appropriations in the
Okay.
House.
So hold on.
So that's Sheila Hickson, and I don't know
Actually,
who
it's not.
She's not in
I
Ways
don't
and
think
Means
she,
anymore?
I don't think she is. Hold on. Oh no, I'm sorry. She is. Her and Frank, and then and you said
Yes.
and approach.
I am being nice. Shall I send you a walker for your birthday?
Yes, I read that. Did you not read my comment? Maggie McIntosh and Tawana Gaines. Maggie has something.
But that's a
she'll
joint
listen.
committee. So if they actually hear
She
it
won't be
as a
happy,
joint
but she'll listen.
committee, that will be Hickson as the lead, because it is actually listed as a Ways and Means first.
Okay.
Ways and Means is the House of Origin, Appropriations is the
I know
joint.
what you're saying.
Hmm?
I know what you're saying. We'll see. Well, it'll be interesting to watch. All right. Before you guys keep going off on which birthday it is, I think we better call it an evening. Besides, I'm tired.
So am I. I still got to drive home.
Yeah. So, guys, we will
Building
see
servers
you.
is a pain in the backside.
We will keep you posted in shooters as to when the next show is. Hopefully next Wednesday, but I'm not sure until I get there. So just with us and keep an eye out. And if you know how to find us, so if you need us, don't be afraid to text me or call me or whatever. Send me an email. Well, don't send me an email. I'm really bad at email these days. Facebook is good. So anything else?
No, I'm switching back to. I need to put a bill back in that I lost off my form.
Okay.
So.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We will.
Our technical difficulties.
That's right. We got to figure it out. We now know what not to do. So, all right. We'll see you hopefully in a week. Good night, guys.
Later.